The UK's financial collapse playbook, what COBRA has already planned. Somewhere in a government building in London, a terrifying scenario has already been wargamed, a full-blown UK financial collapse. This isn't about if they have a plan, it's about what's in it. We've dug through the reports and spoken to the experts to piece together the secret playbook for when the system finally cracks. And in this video we're going to show you exactly what the government has planned and what it means for your money. So the first thing we're going to look at is the agitation, why a plan is necessary. It is easy to dismiss all this as scaremongering, but let's be honest, our financial system is a lot more fragile than most of us want to believe. We live in an age of shocks. Think back to the global financial crisis. It started with the US subprime mortgage meltdown, which created a credit crunch that froze global markets in the summer of 2007. That was the trigger for the first run on a British bank in over a century. As customers lined up outside Northern Rock, the bank was nationalised a few months later, well before the more famous collapse to the Lehman Brothers in September 2008, which sent a much larger tidal wave across the globe. Now, more recently, in the autumn of 2022, a political crisis over a mini-budget of unfunded tax cuts caused a crash in the UK government's bond market. This triggered a liquidity crisis for pension funds, forcing the Bank of England to launch a £65 billion emergency intervention to prevent what is called a material risk to the financial stability and self-reinforcing doom loop. Then, in 2023, we saw the lightning-fast collapse of Silicon Valley Bank in the US and its UK subsidiary. It was a stark reminder of how quickly confidence can vanish and how contagion spreads in our connected world. The government's own National Risk Register, a document assessing the most serious threats to the UK, regularly includes scenarios like a tech failure at a major UK bank or a systemic financial crisis. The system is complex, it is built on debt and it runs on confidence. When that confidence goes, things can unravel with terrifying speed. That's why a plan isn't just a good idea, it's an absolute necessity. The government knows that when a real crisis hits, you can't just make it up as you go, you need a playbook. Let's look at the pivot, the secret revealed. So what is this secret COBRA playbook? Is there really a single red binder in a locked Whitehall vault with financial collapse plan stamped on the front? Well, the truth is both simpler and more complicated. First, let's get one thing straight about COBRA. The name sounds dramatic, but it just stands for Cabinet Office Briefing Rooms. It is a crisis management facility where ministers and officials meet to coordinate the response to national emergencies, be it a terror attack, a pandemic or a severe flood. COBRA's job is coordination. It makes sure all the different parts of the government are talking to each other, but it's not a financial authority. It doesn't print money and it doesn't bail out banks. So the playbook isn't one document that COBRA keeps under lock and key. It is a network of plans and powers spread across a handful of powerful but little understood institutions. Now these are the real players who would manage the crisis. Minute by minute, uncovering the network is the revelation. Forget the idea of one secret book. The reality is a crisis response machine with several key parts designed to stop a country from grinding to a halt. So the revelation, the playbook, players and their steps. Now to understand the real plan, you need to understand the four key players and the roles that they will play. Player one is the HM Treasury, the commander. At the top of the pyramid, His Majesty's Treasury. The Treasury is the government's economic and financial ministry. Its main job is to maintain the stability of the UK's financial system in a crisis. It is the strategic commander. The Treasury's playbook is all about high-level decisions. They don't get bogged down in the technical details of a single bank failure. Instead, they're responsible for the big picture stuff, coordinating with international partners, deciding if taxpayer money is needed as a last resort, and authorising emergency changes to the law. Think of the Treasury as the gold commander in a police incident. It sets a strategy and has the ultimate authority. Player two is the Bank of England. It's the resolution authority. Now, if the Treasury is the commander, the Bank of England is the elite specialist unit on the ground. Since 2008 crisis, the bank has been given a very specific and powerful role. It is the UK's resolution authority. So put simply, its job is to manage the failure of a bank in an orderly way, stopping a domino effect across the entire system. The bank has a detailed public playbook for this, which it regularly updates. One of its most important tools is bail-in. This is totally different from a bailout. A bailout is when taxpayer money is used to save a bank. A bail-in forces the bank's own shareholders and big money investors to take the loss and recapitalise the firm. This ensures that the people who took the risk are the first to pay the price of failure, not the general public. If a bail-in isn't enough, the bank can transfer the bank's essential functions like your deposits and payment services to a healthy bank or a temporary bridge bank that the Bank of England itself runs. We saw a version of this toolkit in action in 2023 when the UK arm of the Silicon Valley Bank was sold to HSBC for £1 over a single weekend, ensuring customers could get their money on Monday morning. That's the playbook in action. Protecting vital services and stopping a panic. Player 3 is the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, the FSCS, the Public Safety Net. This is the part of the playbook that matters the most to the money that's in your pocket. So what happens to your savings if your bank goes bust? Well, the answer is the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, or the FSCS. They step in because it is the UK's deposit insurance scheme. It is an independent body funded by the financial services industry itself. Its purpose is simple. If your bank, building society or credit union fails, the FSCS steps in to pay you back up to a certain amount. Now, as of late 2025, that protection is set at up to £120,000 per person for each authorised financial firm you use. For a joint account, that figure is doubled to £240,000. It's worth remembering this limit is reviewed periodically and can change. This isn't some vague promise, it is a core part of the UK's crisis architecture designed to maintain public confidence and prevent bank runs by guaranteeing that most people's savings are safe. It removes the incentive for everyone to just yank the cash out at the first sign of trouble, the very thing that can turn a problem at one bank into a full-blown crisis. Now, player 4 is COBRA, the National Coordinator. So, where does COBRA fit back into all of this? COBRA is likely only to be convened when a financial crisis threatens to become a national crisis. Imagine a scenario where a massive cyber attack doesn't just damage a bank, but it cripples the UK's entire payment system. Suddenly people can't buy food, petrol stations can't process payments, and supply chains just grind to a halt. Or picture a bank failure that triggers widespread public disorder. This is when a financial crisis stops being just about finance. It becomes a matter of public safety, national security and keeping the country running. At this point, the Prime Minister would likely convene COBRA. The meeting wouldn't just be the Finance Minister and the Governor of the Bank of England. The Home Secretary, the Defence Secretary, the heads of intelligence agencies would probably be at the table too. COBRA's role will be to coordinate the response to the consequences of the crash. It would manage public communication to prevent panic, ensure the police are ready for civil unrest, and potentially work with the military to keep essential supplies moving if supply chains break down. COBRA isn't the financial paramedic, it is the National Emergency Manager that gets called in when the patient's condition threatens the entire hospital. So the implication, what does this mean for you and me? So what does this 4-part playbook mean for you? Your mortgage, your savings? Well, first, it shows the primary goal isn't to save every single bank, but to protect the critical functions of the financial system. Your ability to use your debit card, get your salary and pay your bills is what the authorities are laser focused on preserving. Second, your savings are protected, but only up to a point. The £120,000 FSCS limit is a hard ceiling. This means if you've got all your eggs in one basket and that basket holds more than the limit, you're taking a risk. For example, if you own £5 million because you won the lottery and you got it all in one bank account and that bank goes bust, you now only have £120,000, right? Understand? The system is designed to protect the average person, not to underwrite huge fortunes. Third, the plan is designed to make shareholders and big investors take the hit first through bail-in. While that seems fair, it means if you own bank shares or certain types of banks' bonds, your capital is very much at risk. And finally, the fact that COBRA's involvement is even a possibility tells us that the government is fully aware of how a financial crisis could spill over into every part of our daily lives. From food on the shelves to public order on the streets, their plan is a sobering admission of the fragility we all live with. So in conclusion then, guys, there is no single secret doomsday playbook in a Westminster vault hiding away. The reality is a complex, layered crisis response system built from the painful lessons of the past. It is a machine of interlocking parts. The Treasury provides the strategic direction. The Bank of England performs technical surgery on failing banks. The FSCS offers a safety net for the public, and COBRA stands by as the coordinator of last resort if the crisis goes national. The system is designed to absorb shocks and prevent a total systemic collapse, but it's also a system of trade-offs. It protects depositors and puts investors at risk. It maintains stability, but it has limits. A plan exists, of that there's no doubt, but the real question is whether this carefully constructed machine design in the calm between storms is robust enough to handle the chaos of the next inevitable crisis. What do you think? Is the UK's financial crisis playbook strong enough? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to my channel for more deep dives that break down the systems that shape our world. Thanks for watching guys, stay safe and enjoy the next video on your screen right here, right now.